Hey there, I'm Simone. In this video today, I'm going to be showing you how to fold a blanket properly and then how to use that blanket for head tucking. So this is under special request, and the head tuck is something really, it feels almost magical. It's going to elevate your experience of restorative yoga asanas and yin yoga asanas immensely. So whenever you're doing these types of practices, especially now that most of us are practicing at home on our own, this is something you can do to make those postures just feel even more juicy and restorative. So the first piece is folding your blanket properly. So I like to use Mexican blankets. This is what I learned with. And I was taught this by Judith Hanson-Lassiter in a workshop I did with her years ago. And it's something that I find when we used to teach in person, when I would tuck my students' heads in, it just would make their shavasanas feel that much more delicious. So first, folding the blanket. So I have my Mexican blanket, which if you don't have a Mexican blanket, it's more or less the same. You just might not have this fringe on the end. So the first step is to fold fringy side to fringy side. So folding the blanket in half and making sure the fringe lines up completely. The second step is going to be folding the non-fringy sides of the blanket to the non-fringy side. You go ahead and do that. And again, just making sure everything still feels even. You're not getting any sort of snags in the blanket. Oh, you see I got one down here, so I'm going to fix that. And then finally, the last step is going to be to fold the fringy side, so all of the fringy pieces are on one side, to the non-fringy side. So this is your basic sort of restorative yoga blanket shape that we tend to work with. Now for head tucking, we actually want the fringy side to be slightly shorter than the non-fringy side. So I'm just going to go ahead and shorten that about 10 centimeters or a few inches, 3 inches maybe. And then I'm going to place that down on my mat. Now again, you could use this for a number of restorative asanas where you are lying on your back, even if you're angled up to 45 degrees or so on a bolster. For now, I'm going to show you this on the floor. So I'm going to put the blanket down on the floor, and when I come to lie down, the base of the non-fringy side is going to come more or less to the base of my shoulder blades. The fringy sides of the blanket, which are shorter, are going to come to the base of my neck. So you're going to go ahead, come and lie down. Make sure you position yourself on your blanket properly, accordingly. I'm going to keep my knees bent since I'm 8 months pregnant now. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is just start to pull down the fringy side so it's really at the base of the neck, even starting to bunch up a tiny bit at the base of the neck. And now we're going to try to do piece by piece of the blanket, so layer by layer, where we're tucking in to the sides of the neck and the base of the skull with the blanket. So I'm going to use my fingers. I'm going to feel for that very top layer of blanket. I'm going to pull it down, and I'm going to just start tucking it in. And then I'm going to go for the next layer of blanket. And I'm trying to do this layer by layer. It's tricky to do it fully layer by layer when you're doing it for yourself. But as you tuck in that space under your neck to the base of your skull, you're going to start to feel more and more support for the neck. So that already feels really nice there. The next step, once you've tucked in those fringy pieces of the blanket, is to start tucking in the same way the pieces of the blanket from the non-fringy side So I'm going to come in and again try to do it piece by piece. So I pick up a little bit and I tuck it under and then I pick up. And again, it's a bit tricky. You just do the best you can. You can experiment till you find sort of what works best for you. You want it to feel more or less the same on either side. And it's going to feel like something's hugging your neck and the head. So I've gone kind of all the way up to the sides of my head, more or less in line with my ears. Now the final step is to reach up with your hands and take the top two corners of the blanket. You're going to lift them under and tuck them under the base of or the top of the head a little bit. And what that's going to do is just help the chin to start angling downwards slightly. And then I'm going to just review everything, make sure the neck is nice and stable, make sure it's all tucked in, it's not going to come loose. And then I'm going to relax into my shavasana. Now, if when you put the corners of the blanket under your head, it feels like your chin is still lifting up towards the ceiling, you might need to take an additional blanket or cushion even and slip that underneath the head tucking blanket to lift the head up a little bit more. Because when we get the angle of the chin to be pointing downwards slightly, that's going to help induce a state of relaxation more significantly. So once I'm in this position and my head feels good, I'm going to put on my eye pillow, I'm going to cover myself with a blanket, and then I'm going to allow myself, make myself comfortable, and just allow myself to settle into the posture and into my shavasana. Now I could stay here for a while. So go ahead and try it for yourself. Let me know in the comments how it goes for you. And I'll see you soon. Happy practicing.